One. There we go. Now it's recording. So just a heads up, it's giving you a notice that we're going to record this so we can play it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Christina Pisoni, and I am the chair of the Young Alumni Committee. We formed the Young Alumni Group of the Southern Illinois Alumni Association to target our under 35 alumni base and enhance and promote diverse engagement opportunities. So we decided to launch what we are going to call the Saluki Elevate series to provide engagement with our young alums. So this is our inaugural event for the Saluki's Elevate series. So we are hoping to build upon this one as we move forward and have a couple of these a year and have our young alums come back and I guess virtually present. So thanks for joining us. Couple of housekeeping items and then I'm going to stop speaking and let our presenters speak because that's why you're here. I think we have everyone muted, but please make sure you're muted and keep your video off while the presenters are speaking. All eyes on them. At the end of their presentations, each individual person is going to have a few minutes of Q&A. So while they're presenting, if you come up with a question that you have for them, you can either kind of keep it in your back pocket and wait till we get to the Q&A, and you're more than welcome to hop on your video, unmute and ask. Or if you'd rather, you can type it in the chat. I will ask that you chat it directly to our chat moderator, who is Rachel Brewster. So in order to do that, if you'll click the chat button at the bottom of your screen and then over in the bottom right, there's a to and a drop down. So you can choose that drop down, and instead of asking it to everyone, if you could ask it directly to Rachel Brewster, if you don't want to hop on and do it yourself on video off mute, then Rachel can handle that for us at the end of the presentations. So with that being said, we're going to kind of jump right into it and have our first speaker, Caleb Snyder, jump on. He is the founder of Snyder Physique. He graduated from SIU with his bachelor's degree in exercise science in 2013, with his dual master's in kinesiology and food and nutrition in 2016. He has been a personal trainer since 2013 and instructor at SIU since 2019. He's helped hundreds of people lose weight, gain muscle, and make their health a priority through his in-person and online coaching. He's going to present to us on fitting lifestyle change into a busy life. And with that, Caleb's jumping on. Welcome, Caleb.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quickly and we'll get started here. All right. So good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me out to speak tonight. I'm going to do my best to wrap this up, pretty quickly. I'm used to giving much longer presentations than this, so I'm going to, keep it nice and tight. What you see here in front of you is there's several folks that decided to take their health back, and the protocols that they followed, I'm going to try to unveil to you and give you actionable items that you can actually apply to your own life this evening. So first of all, we have to start with, one second here, there we go, this quote. I like starting off with this because it gives people an idea of where we're coming from. So many people spend their health gaining wealth, and then they have to spend their wealth to regain their health. And what that means is that we spend so much of our young lives, trying to hustle and make it in this world. And by the time we turn 50, 60 or so years old, we've spent our youthful years, and now we have to spend all the money that we gained trying to get that back. So what if you could keep both your health and your wealth? We all know that, continuing an exercise program into your later years brings tons of benefits, whether it's mental health, physical health, strength, muscle mass, all of those good things. And it prevents diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, stroke, depression. So with that being said, what I always ask is, if it's no secret that exercise is good for your heart, muscles, and mind, then why do so few participate? The question I often ask people is, don't you want to feel better? Exercise is definitely more affordable than hospital bills, and there's never going to be a magic pill. We are going to have to do the work. And so when it comes to doing the work, we have a few barriers that we need to keep in mind. And these are the most common things that I hear from folks on a daily basis. What usually stops people from getting regular exercise? Well, these are the most common things. Time is a huge one. Motivation can come in there as well. In our age range that we're in here with the Young Alumni Association, it could be kids. This is the period of time in life where some people are starting their families. You can get caught up in the hustle of trying to make it. You may be apprehensive about exercise, or maybe you just simply don't care yet. Or it could be a lack of knowledge. There's other things that could, stand in the way here, but these are the most common things that I hear. So how do we, turn those barriers into solutions? One of the most common things that I have to help people do is write exercise into their schedule as a non-negotiable appointment. That could be either, stopping at the gym on your way home from work, or on your lunch break, or before work, or if you can't make it to a gym, then you can try to do a home workout. I definitely recommend the functionalpatterns.com 10-week online course if you're interested in home workouts. That helps you exercise and address your pain at the same time. Hiring an expert can help you out, deciding what to do with this. And how much do you really actually need? That varies across different associations. I would say personally, from experience, if you can get 2 to 3 days per week of a full body workout, including the legs, the upper body, and the core, then that should suffice for what we need nowadays. A lot of people think that you have to do cardio, for an hour a day, 5, 6, 10 days a week, whatever it is. You don't want to overdo cardio, especially if you don't move very well, because that can actually, potentially damage like knees and hips and things like that. So I'd say 2 to 3 days per week, strength training would take precedence, and then some cardio in there just as a supplement if you can. Let's see. We're going to shift gears from exercise into nutrition. These are my two, top categories on here, but there's some other things that we'll talk about at the end. Nutrition is the same thing. What stops people from eating healthy meals? A lot of the times it's going to be time and convenience. Those two are the most common things that I see with exercise and nutrition that makes people, is a barrier to their success. Sometimes flavors can, there's a reason why Doritos and, Skittles and ice cream and all that kind of stuff tastes really good. We've got to watch out for the flavors that we gravitate towards. It could be a lack of knowledge on what is healthy. There's a lot of different nutrition, myths and stuff like that out there. It can be hard to wade through all that. There might be too many options, and that can be paralyzing. And some people just simply don't know how to cook. And so I'll address some of those factors here. How do we, take those barriers and turn them into solutions? The first thing that we can learn how to do is meal prep. It takes the same amount of time to cook, say, 1 chicken breast as it does to cook 5 chicken breasts. You just put more chicken breasts on the pan if you're going to be cooking it in the oven or something. If you don't feel like you have time for meal prep or something like that, if you can't carve out 1 hour to take care of 4 or 5 days worth of dinners or lunches or something like that, then delegate it. If we're in any position of management, then you've probably had to delegate tasks before. Delegation is a really good way to take care of this nutrition by ordering from one of the many meal prep companies that we have in town. If you don't know how to cook, learning to cook is pretty simple. YouTube is a great resource for that. Being accountable also helps a lot with that. Having an app that you track your food on, getting coaching, or having like a partner or an accountability buddy can help with that. How much do you actually need? Around 3 to 4 meals per day will work for most people. And within each of those meals, contain protein as your main item, and then fill in vegetables, carbs, and fruits based on your activity. Try to stick with single ingredient foods and shop on the outside of the store. So the produce section, the meat section, the egg section, so on and so forth, and try to avoid the cheap vegetable oils and preservatives that are in a lot of the foods. I'm going to skip a little bit here. Portion sizing is great if you don't have a tracking app or don't want to bother with it. About a palm-sized portion of meat will do just fine. A fist-sized portion of starch like pasta, rice, potatoes, a couple of handfuls worth of veggies at each meal. That will keep you full and it will keep you energized, and it can help you rebalance your body and your body fat levels and things like that. The bottom line is eat real food 3 to 4 times per day. There's some other health factors that tend to be overlooked. Water is really important. You want to get 2 or 3 liters of that per day, high quality if possible. Sunlight, if you're sensitive, start out with about 5 minutes per day, working yourself up to about 20 to 30 minutes per day. Just avoiding the sun at peak hours between, say, 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock or so during the day. A great way to do this is to go on walks. Maybe if you have time on your lunch hour or something, or in the afternoons. Use clothing before sunscreen if possible, if you need to block yourself from the sun. Sunscreen has been shown to be able to actually be a carcinogen with certain ingredients. Digestion, if you're having problems with this, that means your body's probably trying to tell you something about your stress levels and your food intake, that your food is irritating you in some way. And then sleep. We all sacrifice sleep sometimes to get to the next day. 6 to 8 hours per night is ideal. Avoiding blue light and electronics before bed if you can. And if possible, you want to be sleeping in a dark, cool room with no distractions. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here really quick with the best 6 doctors being fresh air, exercise, good water, plenty of rest, a good diet, and sunshine. If you need help with this, there's personal trainers in town, there's dietitians and nutrition coaches in town, but basically hiring experts can save you time, it can save you money, it can save you headaches, frustrations, and potential injuries. If you're interested in what I do personally, then you can go to my website, www.snyderphysique.com. My phone number is on there as well as email. And then if you have Instagram, if you want to give me a follow at Caleb J. Snyder 90, I post plenty of material on there as well.
Awesome. Good job, Caleb. You did great job in the 8 minutes. I think you just provided more information in 8 minutes than I've gotten on that in a long time. I took a couple notes myself. And when he said outside, shop outside the store, my mind went directly to like virtually walking through the store and what that means. And that makes plenty of sense. And that's a good, quick, easy guide to help you there. So we'll open it up to Q&A with Caleb. If you want to hop off mute, you can hop on video. You can send your questions to Rachel. So I'll pause here and see what kind of questions we got.
Hey, Caleb, this is Ozzy. Quick question. Any indication, information on power naps, 30, 40 minutes? Are they good or bad?
Yeah, I've seen research that actually shorter naps can be more beneficial. So naps between 10 and 20 minutes long can actually help with alertness, memory, and things like that throughout the day. Anything longer than that, I've actually seen negative effects in the research. But if it works for you, if 30 to 40 minutes makes you feel more alert and better, mentally, then I'd say definitely go for it. I'm a fan of naps myself.
And we did have a question come through the chat, Caleb, and it is, what fruit should we be eating for more energy?
If you're going for fruits, I would say that the berries are a great choice for that. Also citrus. If you're going for more energy, then fruits that contain higher amounts of starch in them, like say bananas or, watermelon or something like that would be a great choice too. But as far as energy levels in general go, it's best to get plenty of sleep if you can.
We'll open it up to one more question if anyone's got one for Caleb.
Ozzy, you can go ahead.
And Caleb, how about a comment about coffee or a little red wine?
Coffee, I tend to tell people if you're not addicted to it, then go for it. You want to keep coffee to a minimum and definitely eliminate like the artificial sweeteners and creamers and things like that. Try to have it black if you can and don't overdo it. And then you asked about, there was one more thing there too.
Yeah, red wine a little bit.
Right. A little bit of red wine at night is actually recommended by some doctors for folks that have, blood pressure problems or sleep problems and things like that. It's again, if you're not overdoing it and you're not like addicted to it, or if you're not relying on that, to help you with something, then one glass of, a dry red wine or something like that can be beneficial for your heart and your vascular system. Yes.
Well, I think we all appreciated that question. Thanks, Ozzy. Yeah. Gave us that was fantastic. Wow, Caleb, you are a wealth of knowledge. Can't thank you enough for hopping on with us. If you have any other questions that come up for Caleb throughout the rest of the presentations, feel free to send them to Rachel. If we have some time at the end, we may cycle through some additional questions. But until then, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Mike Lewallen. He's a commercial officer at Banterra Bank. He graduated from SIU in 2006 and entered the banking industry in 2009. He will be presenting to us a little bit about credit and the quick need to knows in that realm, which can be slightly confusing. I know me as an insurance agent didn't realize how much credit played into your insurance rates. So this is going to be great. Mike, jump on.
All right. Thank you, guys. Let me get my screen going here. All right, guys. So thank you for having me tonight. Yeah, in my job, I see credit every single day. And I've had old people, young people from all walks of life that just seem like there's a lot of misunderstanding kind of when it comes to credit. So I just kind of wanted to air it out a little bit, just give you some real need to know stuff here. So one of the questions I always get asked is what is a good credit score? Credit scores can range anywhere from like 300 to 850. 850 being a perfect score. I have seen an 850 on a few occasions, so they do exist, but we don't need to worry about that. So if you want to start off with kind of setting a good goal is to get your credit where you want to be, 700 is kind of where I always recommend. 700 is going to get you approved for just about any type of loan that you would want, whether it be a house, a car, a credit card. 700 is going to get you approved. And you're going to get a decent rate on it too. You're going to get a fair rate. 680, I've worked for a couple different financial institutions, and generally 680 is kind of about the minimum cutoff. So if you've got a credit score that's 680 or below, you're really kind of borderline on approval or not. So you may get approved, but if you do, you're not going to get the best rate. It's going to end up kind of hurting you in the long run. So, just kind of a good target to reach for. Start at 700. And then 750 is kind of the next hurdle. If you get a 700, that 750 is kind of the next hurdle where I would kind of recommend to put a target on. The difference between 750 and a perfect credit score of 850 is nothing in the bank world. You're going to get the same rate and the same terms if you've got a 750 credit score as if you've got an 850. It's just the reality of it. So if you've got a 750, you're doing great. Just keep it there. So just wanted to share a little bit about, what we think are good scores kind of within the financial industry. So now that you kind of know a little bit about what good scores are, how do you find out what your score is? Where do you go to check it? In the bank all the time, I see people there's Credit Karma, it's out there. There's another one that I see a lot. It's on mint.com. Those are good, but it's not really your true credit score. The way I kind of think of it in my brain is those Credit Karmas, it's kind of more of a snapshot of your credit. It's going to take a look at what you've done over the last year, 2 years, and it's going to give you a number. But it's not going to be a full hard credit pull that's going to reflect your whole credit bureau history. So I've literally had people show me on their phone like, hey, here's my Credit Karma is this. And I spin my computer monitor around and I'm like, here's where you're really at. And generally, it can be anywhere from 20 to 50 points difference in what some of those places will show you. So just know that it's a good way to kind of keep track of it, but it's not going to be the end-all true credit score that you're going to get. So the second bullet and third bullet points on here, this is where you want to go to really get it. So the second bullet point there at annualcreditreport.com, that is actually a legit government website where you can go and once a year, you can go and request a copy of your credit bureau from all 3 different credit bureaus for free. It's part of this just government regulation. Now, one of the catches to that is that they will have to show you your credit report, but they don't have to tell you what your score is. And that's usually what most people are looking for is their score. So the way that you could get your score would be to actually go to the credit bureaus themselves. So the one that we use in the Midwest the most is Transunion. So that's the one that if you're dealing with a Midwest bank or lender, that's primarily what we use in the Midwest. But there's also Experian and Equifax. And you can literally go to transunion.com and request your credit bureau right there, and you'll get your score. So sometimes they will charge you, it can be anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks, but it's valuable information to have. So if you're looking for a place to go to really find your true score, that's where you want to go. Don't mess with Credit Karma or one of those things. Those are free for a reason. I also wanted to kind of touch on credit building items versus non-credit builders. Something I hear a lot is, you know, a lot of people will, if they haven't borrowed money before, they may have a misconception that, you know, I've paid my cell phone bill on time for 3 years. I paid my rent and my electric bill and my water bill. Unfortunately, you can pay those on time every time, and it's not going to build your credit at all. But on the flip side of that, if you don't pay those things, they could report it to the credit bureau and it could hurt your score. So it's not really fair, but it's just kind of the way it is. So an easy way to think of something that's going to build your credit is somebody has to extend you money. You know, those other things are a service. You're not paying that back. You're just using that service. So the real difference is if somebody's extending you money for a house, car, credit card, a student loan, whatever it is, and then you got to turn around and pay that back, that's generally something that's going to build credit for you. And just a few things on, you know, why should you care about your credit? You know, it's going to affect you in a lot of ways. A lot of jobs now will check credit, especially if you're in the financial sector or you're dealing with private information that people may have. You know, in an emergency, a lot of times people don't need credit until they have an emergency and then they need to go borrow something. So it can having good credit can really bail you out if you ever get in a situation where you have an emergency. Large purchases in the future. This was something I know back in college when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking about buying a house or anything like that at that time. But, you know, 5 years from now, you may want to, you know, down the road, you may want to. So your future self is going to thank you for taking care of your credit and kind of getting ready, because you may not need it now, but you could at some point. Another thing I just wanted to hit on was that, you know, your credit doesn't really just go away. Like if you have something bad on there, I have a lot of people that think, oh, I'll just wait 7 years and it'll just go away. That doesn't always happen with all things. Some things will go away, yes. But certain things, like student loans being one of them, won't go away after 7 years. They will be on there forever. So you got to take it seriously. And generally, if you've got something like that on there, you're not going to be able to fix it quickly. It can take months or years sometimes to rebound or to fix your credit if you've got something negative on there, depending on what it is. And just embarrassment. That's another thing too. So, you know, no one likes getting turned down or told no. It's one of the hardest things I have to do in my job is, you know, tell someone I can't give them a loan, especially if it's for something for credit, because, you know, it's just, you know, it can be embarrassing sometimes, and you know, nobody wants that. And then lastly, you know, your life is just generally going to be easier. You're going to get good rates. You're going to be able to get good insurance, whatever it is. Your credit's going to affect so many different things that you may not even think about. And one example I always remember was back in college. I went to go set up the electric bill, and my roommate didn't have any credit. So the deposit that we were going to have to put down was like twice as high as it would have been had one of us had credit. So it's one of those things that you may not see it every day or deal with it every day, but it can really affect your life and just make your life a lot easier by taking care of it and managing it. So that's what I got, guys.
Thanks, Mike. No, that was also very valuable. I was worried, I'm not going to lie, coming into this, that the short presentation times were going to stretch you guys, but you guys have done a great job. I feel like both of you have provided fantastic knowledge in a quick period of time. Let's go to Q&A for Mike. So feel free to hop off of mute, jump on video, or you can send directly to Rachel. Any questions for Mike?
I have had a few great questions come through. Mike, one of the questions is, does your credit score from TransUnion count as a hard inquiry?
Yeah, it would. So if you go to one of the bureaus themselves, yeah, they're going to do what we would call a hard pull or a hard inquiry. So there's nothing wrong with doing that every so often. Now, you don't want to go out and get it pulled, you know, multiple times, you know, a day or even within a few weeks or months. So there's nothing wrong with getting your credit pulled. You just want to make sure you space it out over time, because if you go to one of those bureaus or a bank, almost always it's going to be a hard pull. So yes, that would count.
Thank you. Another question is it true that the number of credit cards that you have in your name can hurt your credit score?
Yes, it can. So one of the things when we get a credit report back is that it will show on there a list of kind of factors that impacted your score. And one of the ones that we will see quite frequently is it will say something along the lines of too many revolving accounts or too many accounts with revolving balances. And basically a revolving account or revolving balance is a credit card is what it is. It's something that just stays open until you decide to turn it off, you know, or worse, they turn it off for you, right? So it's not like a car loan that's paid off in 5 years and it's over, right? It's an ongoing thing of credit. So yes, if you have a bunch of credit cards out there that are open and you're not using them, they can hurt it. But I would caution you a little bit on closing some of those, because if one of those credit cards you've had for a really long time, that may actually be helping your score, because one of the things that goes into your credit score is length of time that you've had credit. So pick the two that pick a couple of ones that you don't like or you haven't had the longest, get rid of those and keep the other ones.
Awesome. Thank you. Another question we have is, what is the best way to begin building credit as a young adult? And what's your opinion or suggestions on some secure credit cards?
Got it. So that question is really good. So there's a couple ways if you're really young. One of them would be to essentially co-sign with somebody. Get a parent or somebody that with you that will co-sign with you. That can help. Or ask them to add you on as like an authorized user onto their card. One of the ways you can kind of like work the system a little bit is if somebody's had a credit card, you know, mom or dad's had a credit card for 10 years and they go and they add on, you know, one of their children as a user, that child will essentially inherit that credit card's history. It'll have the repayment history. And nowhere on a credit report will it show that new user has only been on there for 2 months. You know, the banks and the credit, they won't even know that when we pull a credit report. So if you've got someone that will allow you to go on as a user or a signer on their card, that's an easy way. Getting a co-signer or B, if neither one of those are an option, a secured credit card is a way to go. So, and basically a secured credit card would be just where you would save up. You know, typically they're $300 to $500 is kind of the minimums on them, where you'd save up $500, you throw it in a savings account, and then a bank is going to turn right around and give you a credit card for that exact same amount. And because you've put the money up already, there's no risk to the bank. So it doesn't matter what your credit score is, you're going to get approved if you put the money up front. So, another great way to do it. I would probably, you know, I have a Capital One card. I'll be honest, I've been very happy with Capital One. Just find a card out there that matches your interests. You know, some have reward points and cash back and flyer miles. So just do your homework. Don't just go to the one that's got the cool looking card. Like, pay attention to those things in there, like how you get points, what the rate is, and just find one that kind of matches you.
Great. Christina, do we have time for one more question?
Ooh, why are you putting that on me, Rach? Yeah, well, let's ask one more question. Michael, keep it brief, and then we're going to shoot to Stephanie.
I think It'll be a pretty quick one. Credit card companies offer updated credit scores on their apps, like CreditWise, for example. How reliable is the score given?
Not so much. Give or take 20 to 50 points in either direction. It'll be kind of like a Credit Karma or a Mint.com. It's going to be a little snapshot of what you've done recently, but it won't be your true credit score.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. That was my question that I sent to Rachel, because my husband and I are in an argument on whose is better. And my credit card app gives me, which happens to be Capital One, gives me that score, and I'm winning based off of that score. So I will not share that with him. That was for my own personal knowledge. Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Again, fantastic. Appreciate you jumping on. We've heard from two really great young alums, and our third one here tonight and last one, because we're going to try to end this before 8 o'clock, is Stephanie Dukat. She's the coordinator of the SIU Craft Shop on campus. She attended Buffalo State College for art, education, and ceramic design, and then received an MFA in ceramics from Southern Illinois University in 2016. She currently holds the position of craft shop coordinator at SIU in the Student Center. She also maintains an art studio practice focusing mostly on clay, fibers, and printmaking. She is a member of the Shawnee Hills Pottery Trail and has exhibited her work in galleries across the U.S. Stephanie is going to give us a brief history of the SIU Craft Shop and actually do an art demo for us. So super excited to have her, and I'll pass it off to Stephanie.
Stephanie, I think you're muted still.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Dukat. I'm the craft shop coordinator here at SIU, and I'm a ceramic artist and an art educator. I'm first going to just share with you a little bit about my art practice, just so you I think it kind of informs how I kind of manage the craft shop and why I am in this position. So my ceramic work kind of falls into 3 different categories. So the first being sculpture. So this is work that is ceramics, mixed media. So I do a lot of combining material to so this work is more about creating and sending a message than kind of selling. So this work would be presented in a gallery. So this is some of the pieces in a larger gallery setting. This work is based on like an artist statement, and it would be more for the viewer to kind of take in and kind of take its own message from. My work also is functional pottery. So it's wheel thrown pottery that is fired in a gas kiln, and then it is also screen printed with decoration and hand painted. So this is work that would be sold in a gallery, or it would just be used every day. And then I also do some commission work and wholesale work. So I do some commissions for local companies where I make beer steins and coffee mugs. And then I also do kind of like wedding gift registry things where I'll make them plates and things like that as well. My day job is the Student Center Craft Shop Coordinator, and we are located in the basement of the Student Center. We are a community art center. We are open to everyone. Students, staff, and community members can come down and use the space. Our staff includes myself. I am a full-time staff member, and then I have a grad assistant, and I have 8 to 10 student workers. So we maintain regular studio hours between our main shop and then our wood shop as well. The craft shop has a lot of things going on. We have a ceramic studio, a paint bar, wood shop. We do custom framing. We have walk-in activities that you can just come in and do during open hours. We also offer summer camps. We have an art supply store, and we also do student community outreach programming. This is a picture of our ceramic studio. So we have 7 kilns. You can also get a private lesson, or we also do workshops in this space. We have a wood shop, so anyone can use the wood shop. They just have to purchase a wood shop pass, and they have to pass a safety test. We also offer safety courses if you're not comfortable with the tools at this time. And it pretty much has anything you would need between power tools and hand tools to kind of make something out of wood. We have a paint bar. This is a multi-use space that is good for birthday parties or workshops and things like that. We usually do a lot of painting workshops, sewing workshops, and also like this is a scarf marbling class that we did last week. Here's a stained glass class as well. And then we also do like classes for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I'm a certified merit badge counselor for pottery, metalsmithing, and sculpture. So we can offer all those if Scouts want to come in and get a badge. We also do custom framing as well. As part of the craft shop, we also host 3 different craft sales every year. We host the family weekend, the holiday craft sale, and then a Valentine's Day craft sale. This is a great opportunity to get local artists on campus and allow them to sell their goods and also kind of promote handmade things in our community. And another program we offer is Youth Summer Camp. So it's usually a week-long camp that provides creative thinking and knowledge of art and art history. And each session is a different theme. Our themes kind of range from art to fibers to printmaking, painting, and every day we kind of do a different project. So this project here was they dyed the fabric, they sewed the pillowcases, and then they had everything was kind of handmade about the pillow. And here's a picture of a child and the wheel throwing workshop. So right now I'm going to kind of switch gears and just turn around, and I'm going to actually throw a pot for you really quick. So we'll see how fast I can throw a pot. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Sorry, I have to do a little bit of maneuvering to get set up here. And it's kind of hard because I can't really see myself for some reason. Okay. So I've been throwing since I was in high school. So I'm 33, so kind of a long time. It's definitely something that you have to practice at, and it takes a little bit of finesse and definitely dedication to get it kind of going in the right direction. So first thing is you're going to smack it down, get your hands wet, and then the clay will kind of spin on the wheel. So we're going to use our hands to push forward. We're also going to kind of use our body to kind of settle ourselves so it's not really rocking us around. If you are kind of up here, you're not very strong, so you really have to kind of hunker down. My mom always yells at me for having bad posture, but I guess I blame it on the pottery. So we're going to kind of first make a cone. You want to keep it pretty wet so it doesn't create friction on your hand. So this is how like a lot of mugs are made. And everything we have in the craft shop is functional, so you can actually eat and drink off of it. And it's all microwave safe, and you put it in the dishwasher, stuff like that. So we teach kids and adults of all ages kind of how to do this down in the craft shop. So now I'm going to open it up. So I'm going to make a cup here. So you can kind of go for as much kind of rustic or kind of how kind of refined you want. It's at this stage you kind of can decide, I want my throwing lines or I want it to be really, really smooth, and I would use certain tools to get that. So this is a very large cup. So basically people ask how long it takes to make a cup. So usually when I make a cup, I'll make a lot at one time, and then I have to throw it, let it dry. Then I do something called trimming, which is basically refining the edges. And then I'll add the handles, fire it once, and then I'll put it in I'll glaze it and then fire it again. And then after those 2 firings, it's done. So now this is pretty much ready to go. So, pretty quick. But that's it. Thanks for watching.
That was mesmerizing how quickly you just put that cup together. That was fantastic. Thank you. I know we just asked you to like do double the work on talking and whatnot, and I sent this to Rachel, but I'll just ask for those who are interested in stopping by, like if someone's coming back for homecoming or on campus visiting, does the craft shop have regular hours?
We do. We are open from noon till 6:30 Monday through Friday, and noon till 5 on Saturdays.
Perfect. All right, and then I will open it up to Q&A if anyone else wants to unmute and ask, or if Rachel has any chatted to her.
I do have a couple questions. Stephanie, one is asking if there is storage available for woodworking projects.
Yes, we do have little cubbies that you can store your woodworking projects in. So you just have to kind of sign out a little sheet that says your name and your phone number, and then you can store your items in there. We do kind of clean them out once a year. So if you're not really working in there, I would kind of bring your stuff back with you. But if you're working in there regularly, you can totally leave your stuff in there.
Awesome. Another question that came in. Someone is wondering about the custom framing offered. If you could go into some more detail about the types of frames, what kind of materials you are able to frame, such as cross stitch or fabric crafts.
Yeah, we can frame pretty much anything. We can frame pictures, posters, we can do needlepoint, we can do shadow boxes. We just did a large order of Saluki jerseys. So basically everything we do in the frame shop is acid free. So the mat board, everything is like kind of built to last museum quality. So if you have something like a needlepoint, we can definitely get it so it's not going to yellow, and we use the correct glass with that.
Are those the questions we had, Rach? Got it. I'm like awkward silence watching Rachel on her video. Perfect. Okay, 7:45 on the dot, which I'm going to let everyone know in the background that was our plan. So all of our presenters did a great job. Q&A did a great job. We thank everyone for attending. Again, for those that didn't catch this at the beginning, I guess I'm video now. Yay, get to see my face. So for those who didn't catch it at the beginning, our Young Alumni Group, which is, I guess, an arm of the Southern Illinois Alumni Association, our goal really is to put programming and networking opportunities together for professional and personal development for our young alums, which is something that, quite honestly, is lacking a little bit. So we're trying to get off the ground running with it. This is our first of hopefully many Saluki's Elevate series chats. Our goal was to keep it under an hour. We did a great job with that. I think we provided a lot of great content in that 45 minutes. So I appreciate everyone for jumping on. I appreciate all of our presenters, our young alum presenters. One thing I will note is we will send a post-event survey out. If you could be on the lookout for that, kind of asking for feedback, asking for potential future topics that you'd be interested in. And then we'll get to work with planning the next one in the series. So with that, that's kind of all we have for this evening. Again, thanks for jumping on, and we look forward to seeing everyone in the future at our events. So have a great night.